Hey everyone. Okay, so we are going to talk about a certain type of apology where, it's possible that it could reflect some sort of manipulation. I know it's hard to believe that there are those types of apologies that are out there. But whether the person apologizing really understands or realizes that that's what they're doing or not, because I feel like it kind of can go both ways. Also, the research I've done, it does show that, yes, sometimes the person, really does know that they're doing this to you, but then also sometimes maybe not. Maybe it's something, as far as like wounding or something they've been conditioned that they do get results from, and they just don't realize that it's manipulation. Okay, so, have you ever gotten an apology from someone and thought, that doesn't really sound genuine? Like they're just, maybe going through the motions, or basically saying, I'm sorry, just to get the result that, they want from you or from the situation. So it's possible that this type of apology could be manipulative. Like I said, it's hard to believe, but it's true. So sometimes the person may, like I said, intentionally do it, sometimes not. And there are several types to, maybe look out for here. So the first one, it reflects the person's guilty conscience. The person, apologizing feels bad for what they did or said, and they know that saying I'm sorry will alleviate those feelings. They just don't like feeling like that, and, they want you to know that they feel bad about what they did or said. This type of apology doesn't typically focus on the intent to change behavior and correct the wrongdoing that happened. So, watch out for that. The second one is basically the reverse victim apology, where the person apologizing says things like, well, this is how I am, or that I do these things or say these things. And it basically tries to make you feel like you're the one at fault because you didn't remember these things. Again, it doesn't focus on changing. Number 3, it's an apology where the person will say, I'm sorry, just to end an argument, or that, to end some kind of uncomfortable feeling, like being called out on something, or making them feel something maybe emotional, where they need to feel, vulnerable, and they don't like to, admit these things or face these things. So, maybe they are in some kind of denial or something like that, where they just, they don't like when that happens. Again, doesn't change behavior. Number 4 is an apology where the person makes you feel like you're at fault for something too in the situation, and where you owe them an apology. So, it's basically like, well, I'm sorry for whatever, but, you did this too. So, you're kind of at fault too. And, while that might be true in some circumstances, it basically takes some of the heat off of them, and it makes you feel like there's shared responsibility, like I said, whether it's true or not. So it's still, it doesn't really focus necessarily on change, behavior. And then number 5, we have an apology that tests boundaries. So this type of apology, it basically makes, it doesn't allow for the person to be accountable for what they did wrong, because they don't want to be held accountable. Okay, it just tests your boundaries to see what you will accept and what you won't. And number 6, an apology that helps keep the person from, it actually is more of about control, actually. And it keeps you from leaving the relationship or connection. So it kind of promises change without action or doing so. So, any of these things, if you see any of these, it really is some type of manipulation. And so an apology basically that, doesn't tell, exactly say what they did wrong. It does not focus on, like, I see how this made you feel. And then also where it doesn't focus on, how this person intends to change behavior. Those really aren't genuine per se, and they could be manipulation. So just watch out for all of these things. Because, an apology without these three aspects, it really isn't an actual true apology.